Hey, here we are tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire, here with Mrs. Lori from the Tree of Valor. How are you doing, Lori?
Good. Very excited to be here.
Very good. And we're going to call it Wednesday Warriors. How about that? And are you at the
I love that.
gallery?
Yes, yes, but it's under construction because we're getting ready for our big event on Saturday. We're having a Black military heritage event. Um, General Gorham is actually our guest of honor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
So our
there's
guest tonight.
disarray in here. So
Okay. All right. Well, I like that. That's for a good reason. So tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire, we have a special guest with us that you, Lori, happen to know very, very well. So
yes.
tonight, Lori is going to kind of take control, literally, of this interview and introduce us to someone that I have heard a lot about, especially being the first person, literally, with the chairs there at the gallery. So, and of course, we'll let everyone know what that is because they're probably going, "What do you mean chairs?"
Mhm.
But we'll be sure to bring that up. But is there anything you'd like to say before we bring up our special guest?
He is such an entertaining individual that he barely needs you can't give him a good introduction that he just cannot give himself other than to say he is one of the finest veterans I've ever met, Brigadier
Oh,
General J.R. Gorham. Yes, he's just, yeah. Until
well,
you hear him speak, you haven't actually heard a real speaker.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
You just put him right there on the spot. But I can tell you this, he is also an acclaimed author as well.
Yes, he
So
is.
he
There's his
has
book.
there it is. There it is. I was hoping that you were gonna. I knew you had it. So a little bit about his book. He'll be able to tell us that too, and about him as well as far as his service. So obviously, we say thank you to him for his service, and we'll do that. But I say we go ahead and bring him up, and just get this show rolling. How
Okay.
about that? Thank you, Lori. And here we are. Thank you for joining the show on Patriots Inside the Wire tonight, sir. How are you doing?
As I always say, I have no right to grumble. Every day on this side of the grass is a good day. So that's
I
how I
love.
start every one of my days on a positive note because I like positivity.
Well, we like
And
that. I love that one.
and I count it an honor to be given the opportunity to go before your audience and share a little bit about my life and my career and things of that nature.
Well, we welcome you to Patriots Inside the Wire and the Tree of Valor now on our Wednesday night shows. It's a pleasure to have you here. Of course, I've heard a lot about you. I know all about. Uh, I know a lot, so I'm going to let Lori kind of lead us because I'll end up telling your story. But I want to
Well,
say thank you for your service, number one. So
Thank
number
you.
one, thank you for that. Thank you. And I just noticed your head when you did that. It's Army. So I'm like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Go Army. Huh. All
Whoop.
right. There, see, there we go. And this is Lori, and Lori will now be joining us on Wednesdays as a host at Patriots Inside the Wire, the Tree of Valor. She's there at her gallery. Welcome, Lori. How are you doing?
thank you. I'm very excited. And I can't think of a better person to start out this co-hosting with. Honestly, I'm excited to be your co-host, and I'm just so excited that you're my first official guest, General Gorham, and it's just such an honor, really.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I greatly appreciate it.
Now, I
Well,
don't know if he remembers this, and I'm it's going to tickle me if you do remember this. But the very first time that I ever met him, we were at a triad honor flight pre-flight meeting. There's what, 100 and some people there, do you think, General Gorham, at those meetings?
Oh, more than 100, I'm sure. Yeah, a
And
couple
so
of
he always speaks to all these veterans who are Vietnam War age on up. And are you familiar with the honor flight?
me? Are you talking to
Yeah.
the audience?
Yeah,
I
you.
am, but we have to
Okay.
explain a little
So
to the audience
the
that's
the
coming
honor
to
flight is where they take these veterans and they fly them to Washington D.C. for the day, and they get to see all the things, and it is the most amazing experience. But
you.
the whole trip is started weeks before with an amazing speech from General Gorham. So the
Oh,
first time I ever heard him speak, I was beside myself. And I walked up to him and I said, I know, and I'm pretty sure it was that day. I said, I know that you don't know who I am and all this. This is not verbatim, obviously, but I said, someday, I said, I'm going to open a conservatory. And I said, when I open that conservatory, you are going to speak at the opening of that conservatory. And I can't remember if it was exactly that day, but I was so impressed with his speech. And he just smiled and he was like, okay. Like it was just, he wasn't like, sure, lady. Right. It wasn't like it was, and he didn't even know who I was. Right. And yeah, I knew he was really something special on that day. And if you ever have the opportunity to hear him give a speech,
well, tonight we do. We have a great
yes.
opportunity. He's right here with us. So tonight, for everyone out there tuning in right now, thank you. I see you there. That's what I'm making sure. I want to make sure everybody that's tuned in right now, please share to this from your pages, wherever you're watching this from, please, as you're tuning in, so you can be part of this story. And as this story goes on as a broadcast, it's then a podcast, and we're on the radio. So we're on multiple platforms right now. So right now, people can see us. Later, if I emphasize on a word, or you may emphasize on a word, and especially if we're going to mention a website, a book. I see you holding the book, Lori.
Still got
We
that
want
book.
to make sure that everyone can hear us as well. So again, thank you. And I think that we should allow. Now, first, I want to ask this: what would you like to go by, sir?
JR.
Okay. Well, that's what I needed to know because I certainly didn't want to mess that up. I was like, well, do I say general? Do I say
That's always
brigadier
what I call
general?
it.
You know, I have a lot of titles. I've been given a lot of titles, but the one that I like the most is a humble servant.
I
Oh,
like
That,
that. I
that's
like that.
that's what I see myself as. You know, a humble
Thank
servant.
you. Thank
And
you.
out of all the accolades that has been bestowed upon my life, and there has been a few, the one that I cherish the most, the one that I coveted the most, is the fact that I was born to a sharecropper. And I am a sharecropper, just like my dad. The only difference between me and my dad planted seed in the ground, and I
Mhm.
plant seed in the hearts and minds of leaders. But I'm still a sharecropper.
I love that. That's beautiful the way that you put that. I totally agree that a lot of us should be still planting seeds throughout and uplifting one another from the roots all the way up. So I love how you put that. So thank you for that. And I see that Lori is clutching a book there.
I want everyone to get it. Is it
so
such a great book? It's just such a great book.
so can you tell me? Let's just back up a minute. Okay, so you joined the army. Was it just straight out of high school, young? And can you tell us just a little bit?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit about my background. As I tell people all the time, I, I grew up poor, not poor, but
Oh,
poor.
Oh,
Okay. See, there's only one O in poor.
yeah.
And my family, we could not afford the aura. Okay. That's how poor we were. Okay. 11 of us in a little 4-room shack
Hmm.
with no running water or inside plumbing. Okay. We had the outhouse. We had the well. We had a side porch with a washing machine with those rollers. Now, you older people in the
Yes.
audience know what I'm talking about, you know. And on wash day, I had to draw 80 buckets of water out of that well, 10 for the wash, 10 for the rinse, 4 loads of clothes. It took all day to wash when I was growing up. But through that process, God was developing my work ethics. T.E.
Yeah.
Broyhill once said, God forges us on the anvil of adversity for a purpose known only to him. That is how he prepares us for life. So when I was down there drawing water out of that well, priming the tobacco in my daddy, the tobacco field, being obedient to my father, God was preparing me then to become the first African-American general in the North Carolina National Guard. And when I talk in front of young people, I remind them that God prepares you for greatness when ain't nobody looking at you. And so that's kind of like how my story began. And that was the environment that I lived in until at the age of 18, I made a conscious decision to join the United States Army to serve my country anytime, any place, and in whatever capacity she deemed necessary.
Yes.
And so, but I must admit, I did not initially join the Army because I was the patriotic type. That is not my story.
Yeah.
I joined the Army for two reasons. One, to get away from that tobacco field. And two, to get away from my daddy, because he was a hard taskmaster. I did not like that man at all. He wouldn't let me go nowhere. He wouldn't let me do anything but work, go to school, visit my relatives. So when I joined the Army, I got away from him. I did like a lot of kids do. I got with the wrong crowd. I was on my way to become an alcoholic until I had a good experience with the big guy that kind of changed my life. Okay.
Nice.
So that's kind of like an introductory of where I came from. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. And I understand how you just explained that word without having the extra syllable in there or the extra vowel. I actually, I'm not going into anything about me, but I actually do relate, and I love how you said that. So I love to hear. She's right. Lori's correct. Just listening to you is a treat in itself. So you said that you had something that came to you that is something of an experience with God.
Yes.
That kept you from what we know as can be a lot of trouble when it comes to alcohol and other things out there. And there are kids that they join literally to get away from environments, areas, a lot of different reasons that may not be patriotic when they join. But ironically, the statistics do show that that is actually the majority that do join that young. That is true. That's true.
Yeah.
And what was your experience then? What was it, just after the drinking, you had something that happened, or what was that?
Yes. So, a guy coming into the military, he's never been out of the state of North Carolina. I'm one of them kind of guys like Gomer Powell walking around like, oh my God, I'm seeing all this different food. I'd never had pizza before. And I went through the chow hall the first time, and the mess sergeant asked me, did I want a salad? And I go like, yeah, I want salads. I'm thinking about mustard greens, and he gives me a bowl with some carrots and some lettuce. I'm going like, this rabbit food, this ain't no salad. And so I was kind of backwards and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, like I said, I got with the wrong crowd, and I was introduced to those alcoholic beverages. Okay. The good thing about me initially was I had a very low tolerance for alcohol. And so about two beers and I was 9 sheets in the wind, But I was enjoying that life so much. I would go out one group one night, go out with another group the next night. And it seemed like I was at a point where I was constantly drunk, And when you're in that state of mind, you are not making a lot of good decisions, right? So I'm getting in a whole lot of trouble. Not the kind of stuff that will lead you to the stockade or anything like that. But I didn't have a good reputation with the first sergeant. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this for about 7-8 months continuously. I'm on my way to become an alcoholic. Okay. And on Christmas Eve of 1976, I'm sitting at my platoon sergeant's house. I have drank 3 beers. My tolerance level is a little bit higher now. And he's offering me the 4th beer. And I know if I drink that 4th beer, I'm going to drink a 6-pack and I'm going to be drunk again, right? Lo and behold, in the midst of getting drunk, a divine intervention from the big guy happens right in front of my face. The Waltons come on TV. Now, for the audience out there who might be aware of that Walton, you know, John Boy, Mary Ellen, all those folks, big family, right?
Good night, John Boy.
Yeah, I
Right,
come
Mary
from a big
Ellen.
family, you know.
Yeah.
I started watching that show and I got homesick like a big dog. And all of a sudden, a feeling came over me that I cannot explain or describe. And all of a sudden, I just didn't want that beer anymore. So I told my platoon sergeant, I said, hey, Sarge, I think I'm just going to go home. He said, okay, but be careful because you've been drinking. I said, Roger that. So I left his house and went outside. I got in my 1973 Ford Pinto. And it's a little 4-cylinder, you know. I'm driving for $16.99. You could get one totally loaded, right? I'm driving a used one, okay?
Yeah.
So I get in my little Pinto and I'm heading to that hole in the wall apartment that I'm living in down at Fort Hood, Texas, okay? And
Yeah.
on the way to that apartment, the best thing that has ever occurred in my life happens. I'm driving down the road and I look over on the shoulder of the road and I see a loaf of bread that has fallen out of somebody's car. And I don't have no bread in my house. Okay. At that particular time in my life, I had 75 cents in my pocket and a 4 for tank of gas in my car because I done drunk up the rest of my money, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled my car off to the shoulder of the road. I got out of my car. I walked over there and I stooped down to pick up that loaf of bread. But when I did, the story that I learned at St. John Baptist Church, where I come from, right? The story of the prodigal son came to my remembrance. And I said to myself, oh my God, I am him. I'm out here doing all this stuff that I'm big and bad enough to do. My mom and daddy didn't raise me this way. I came to myself, but I picked up that loaf of bread anyway, because mama didn't raise no food. And I didn't have no bread in my house. So I grabbed my little loaf of bread. I went home. And for the first time in about 8 months, I decided to call home. Now, I don't know how it is at your house on Christmas Eve, but back in the day, everybody came home for Christmas, okay? So my mom and dad are there. My 5 elderly sisters, my 5 sisters are older than I am because I had 6 mamas, okay? My younger brother and my paralyzed uncle and his wife, okay? They all there. I'm not there. I call home. My mom answers the phone. She hears my voice and she says to me, bruh, that's what they called me back home. Bruh, come home for Christmas. I said, Mama, I can't. And she said, why not? I said, Mama, I got 75 cents in my pocket. I got the 4 for tank of gas in my car. I said, Mama, that's all I got. She said, me and your daddy will wire you some money tomorrow. You need to be home at Christmas with your family. Now, I am 20 years old and I'm doing a whole lot of stupid stuff. I'm making a whole lot of stupid mistakes, but I got enough sense to know that I cannot take that proposition from my mom. So I told my mom, now I know we hear the term all the time, man up. Well, that's what I started doing that night. I started to man up. And I told my mama, I said, Mama, I got myself in a bad situation down here at Fort Hood, Texas. And I got to get myself out because if I depend on you and daddy to bail me out this time, every time I get in a bad situation, I'm going to be dependent on y'all. And one day, and I don't know when it's coming, but one day, y'all are not going to be there for me. Then what am I going to do? So I said, Mama, pray for me. And when I get out in August, I'm coming home. So she said, okay. Then she proceeded to put all 5 of my sisters on the
On the
telephone.
phone.
They crying, I'm crying, okay? You see, I'm the first little boy coming in that
Yeah.
family of 5 girls. They used to shoot the gnats and the flies out of my face. They used to kiss my little feet. They made me feel that I was important. They helped me to develop my self-esteem. And here I am now feeling like a total loser with a capital L. Nothing is going right in my life. I'm making all these bad decisions, and I just at my lowest point. And when I get off that phone, the thought of checking out permanently crosses my mind.
Wow.
But something on the inside of me, what we call in the military, the intestinal fortitude kicked in and would not allow me to do that. And so when I got off the phone, I left that apartment, went outside, went across a railroad track into a cow pasture, and I walked and I walked and I walked. But that night in that cow pasture at Fort Hood, Texas, was the defining moment in my life. That night in that cow pasture, I made a decision. And I said, this is as low as I'm ever going to go. And from this day forward, I'm going one way, and that's up. And by the grace of God, I got through the holiday period with my sanity intact. The first day back on the job at lunchtime, armed only with a gleam in my eye and a desire in my heart, I went down to the community college. I signed up for English and I signed up for math because I realized that education was going to be vital to my upward mobility. When I finished signing up for the courses, I went back to the company area. I went to the orderly room and I knocked on the first sergeant's door. Now you got to understand, I've been in this company for about 2 years now. I have never spoken to the first sergeant. I am petrified of that man. I am scared of him. If he comes one way, I'm going the other. But that day, I mustered up enough courage. I went and knocked on his door. He came to the door. He saw me and he saw my name tag, and he immediately knew who I was because I'm on every bad report he got. Late for formation, boots not shine, uniform not starched, haircut not according to regulation, you name it, I could claim it because when you're in that state of mind, you're not making any good decisions.
Right.
And he looked at me and he said, what do you want? I said, I need to talk to you first, Sergeant. He said, come in my office. What's on your mind? I said, First Sergeant, I have a proposition for you. Now, folks, have you ever had anybody to look down on you like you are the scum of the earth? You go like, you smack ball, you dud, you have a proposition for me? This I have got to hear. He said, what's your proposition? I said, First Sergeant, I will pull extra duty every weekend for the rest of the time that I'm in this unit if you keep my name off the extra duty roster on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And he looked at me, he said, Gorham, that does not make any sense. Don't nobody want to pull extra duty, especially on the weekend, and you're going to pull it every weekend? I said, every weekend. He said, why are you doing this? I said, I went down to the community college. I signed up for English. I signed up for math. The classes are offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I want to be able to go to all my classes. And he looked at me and he said, are you trying to tell me that you're willing to pull extra duty every weekend? He said, when do you get out? I said, I get out in August. He said, it's January. I said, it don't matter. He said, you're going to pull extra duty all the week just so you can go to school at night? And I said, yes, First Sergeant. And he looked at me like them old first sergeant could look at you. And he said, well, I'll be damned. You got a deal. And he shook my hand and I left his office. But here's the deal. You know what that first sergeant did for me? He took my name completely off the extra duty roster. Right.
Ooh.
But the question is, why? Why did he do that? I'm a dud. In the military terms, I was a Charlie Foxtrot. Some of those guys out there know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Charlie Foxtrot, okay? I'm a dud. I'm a smackball, okay? I'm on all his bad reports. But I think that first sergeant saw something in me that at that particular time in my life, I didn't even see in myself. And I think he said, I know this boy's a smackball, but he's willing to make a sacrifice to get his education. I think I'll just give him a little bit of help. That first sergeant don't know to this very day that that random act of kindness that he bestowed upon my life helped me to turn my whole life around. There's a Chinese proverb that says that a wise man or a wise woman will plant trees under the shade they will never sit. The Bible says it a little bit different. The Bible says one plants and another waters, but it's God that gives the increase. So when he did that, he helped me to turn my whole life around. That was the easy part. Now come the hard part. I had to go and confront all of my so-called friends that was coming over to my crib. Okay, my little hole in the wall apartment with that hard liquor and
Yeah.
that marijuana. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mary
Now,
Jane.
yeah. Yeah. That. Right. Now, I'll be honest, folks. To this day, I have never taken a toke off a joint. Okay. But I'm in my own house and I'm getting bullied. Right. Because they would come in and be like, Gorham. They'd be like, come on, man, take a hit off this. And I would look at them and I say, I don't want nothing in my body gonna make my face look like yours did right then. So they would turn that joint around, put it in their mouth, get all close and personal with me, and blow that stuff in my face, giving me a shotgun, and I would get just as zooty as they did, right? But when I made up my mind that I was going to change my life, when I made up my mind that I was going to make my mom and daddy proud of me, my sisters and brothers proud of me, that community I came from proud of me, when I made up my mind, right? I told those
Yes.
y'all can't do that no more. You can't come to my apartment. You can come, but you can't bring that liquor and you can't bring that marijuana. Okay. So you know how many came to see me after that, right?
How many?
Because they weren't my friends, right?
Right.
That is when my life changed. And that's when I started this upward mobility to where I am right now. And the wisdom that seventh grade sharecropper daddy of mine shared with me in that old raggedy smoking Silverado pickup truck that I was so ashamed of then, but I'm so proud of now because the wisdom that he shared with me in that old truck has helped me to become the man that I am becoming because God is not through with me yet.
Yes, I love it. Amen. I mean, I love every bit of that you're talking about. It's just, it's beautiful. I especially love the emphasis and how you explain that whole situation in the face sort of thing.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been around certain people that, and I'm like, no, no. I had to grow up in situations we won't get into, but in those situations, I was the child.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my goodness. And I did the same thing. I was like, no, not me. But exactly, Valerie, I agree. Amen. They're saying amen and to the audience out there.
I try to keep it real. I don't
Yes.
I don't cut no corners, right? I tell it just like it is because I know who I am and whose I am and where I have come from. It can only be him that made that happen.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And then now we've gotten to the part, we've got a book. And then we've got you at the Tree of Valor, which
Right.
is the first person that has ever done the chairs, which means saluting the chairs uh, there at the Tree of Valerie, the gallery that is there in North Carolina. How
Yes.
Now
did
I have
that
to
come to
say,
be?
but you and I have to say, when he
What?
was telling that whole story about how one small act of kindness completely changed things for him, right?
Yes.
He did not realize when we've been doing those chairs since the summer before. The first time ever was in New Jersey at the VFW convention. And but we would just place the chairs, the flags, all the things, and we would put the pictures on each chair. But it was when he came in here last year at this exact same time. And I asked him, would you place the pictures on the chairs? And then I went off on my, minding my business. And I turn around and I see the most magnificent thing I've ever seen. And there he is saluting every picture on those chairs. And I said, I'm sorry, but you need to stop that. I said, those families would want to see that. I said, I have to get my camera. I said, I have to video this. And he had no idea what he had done. And then poor JR, I was blowing up his phone then because I would post just one or
Yeah.
two chairs at a time and send them out. And people were just having a fit about it. They were so grateful for his initiative and his kindness. He did that 22 times that day. And
Mhm.
at the end of it, his face was different at the end than it was in the beginning. And he would do this beautiful pause. He didn't just take the picture and sit it down. He took it, he looked at it like he was saying something we couldn't hear. And I said to him, and I kind of want to ask him now, I said, what are you thinking when you were looking at each one of those veterans there? 22, just for everyone who knows, the chairs, or there's 22 chairs. Each chair has a veteran who's taken his life, which also goes back, JR, to your story of that Christmas where you had that thought, which it's in your book even, but I had forgotten that.
Hmm.
And um, what were you thinking when you were doing the pictures that first time? Because you've done them several times since. But
When,
what were you thinking?
when a person takes that oath to say that they're going to defend this country, they're saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes, right, to ensure that this country, the United States of America, will always be the land of the free and the home of the brave. And when you take that, put on that uniform and you take that oath, right? Guys in combat, right? They don't do what they do because of the enemy that stands before them. They do what they do because of their family and their friends and their community that stands behind them, right? And
Hmm.
although they took their own lives, right? They, before they did that, they served this country, right? And I thought that they deserved the last salute. And so what I was doing was coming up, posting the salute, right? And then post out, right? Which is the way we do it in the military, showing respect to them and for the service that they gave to this country, right? Even though they committed suicide, okay, they still should be honored. And so
Right.
Yeah.
and so that was my way of honoring those soldiers. You know, I lost 4 of my soldiers over in Iraq, okay, and having to go and present that flag to that family, I mean, that's a tough deal, because the loved ones, right? It's still their loved ones, and they need to receive the same respect of anybody else that wear the military uniform. And so that was my little small way of giving them that last bit of thank you and
Respect and
pride.
thank you.
Yes,
Hmm.
for the service that you
Hmm.
gave to this country. because it's very few people in this country. When you look at the total population, only about 2% of the people
Actually,
don't
I think
wear
it's
the
less.
uniform.
I
It's
think
like,
it's actually
yeah,
less than 1% now.
it is. It is.
Yeah,
But
I've been out
it
for about 20
really.
years, okay, but
Yeah.
22, and I might be wrong on the number count, but when I was in, it was like every day 22 soldiers or
And now it's
military
40,
people. Now
and now
about
it's
40 something
44.
now that are committing
what,
suicide
wait, what did you
a
just
day.
say, Lori?
Now it's 44.
It's
A
44
day?
a day. I mean,
That,
that
and that's not counting, when that happens, then the um, prevalence of the spouse doing it and the children doing it is much higher than it would normally be. So
oh
no
yeah.
one's
Oh yeah.
adding in those numbers
The
as
second and
as
third
well.
effect, the second and third effect of what's taking place there is not
Yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No
And
one's. No
Lori,
one's
don't you do 22 plus? Because we have those that are killed that are multiple things that happen in our
yes.
company
So
here for our service members. So it's not just the
yes.
22, but you have more than that, correct?
So last Memorial Day, JR went to the Carolina Field of Honor, which is one of the nicest memorial parks. Parks aren't really the right word, but um, on the East Coast. And he went and he did the chairs and the saluting there. And that night we had all the trees lit up. There was so beautiful. I mean, it's sad, but it was so beautiful. And we had, um, I think it was half a dozen veterans, highly decorated veterans, all who marched not just through around his chairs then, but through all of our trees because it was Memorial Day. So all of the trees were covered in veterans that we lost during service, and they saluted every tree. And even when that uh, earlier in the day when JR was there, he came up to me and he said, you know, why we need to get this as part of the program because he did this and the thing at night we did this on our own. There was no big community engagement involved in it really, which he was right. It really needs to be part of a really significant Memorial Day event, whether it's there or somewhere else, right? But when I met, but even before I had met you, Tracy, there's a lot of people that I feel like there's so much focus on certain ways that we lose veterans. And at the end of the day, every loss matters. I mean, you lose people in war, you lose people when they come home from war, you lose people who train for wars they never see. You lose people who are in service, like Tracy's son. Tracy's a Gold Star mom, who um, was home, but his life was taken, right?
Active duty on U.S. soil after between Iraq and Afghanistan.
So those people all need to be remembered.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought for sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I wasn't sure if you knew or not, but every time you said that word, you were talking and you said, and I kept thinking, uh-huh, I know. When
Yeah.
you talked about taking that flag to a home
Yes. Yes.
or just anybody coming to the home and knocking on the door, and I'm like, I wonder if Lori told him that I actually really do.
You do. And next week, General Gorham, you need to listen when I'm going to interview her, and she is going to tell her story that no one's ever heard
Oh
of
wow.
what happened to her son and the
Oh
things
yeah.
that have happened to his grave after that. It is a story that needs told. So make sure you listen next week to that story.
Now
It's making my face red.
one of my life lessons in that book of mine that I wrote. Okay, my dad told me. He said, "Boy," because that's what I thought my name was, right? He said, "Boy, your word is one thing that you give and you keep at the same time. He said, there's not many things in life you can give and keep at the same time, but your word is. So when you give your word, you make sure you keep it because someone is always eating off your tree. He said, if you give your word and you keep your word, you walk in integrity. And when you walk in integrity, my father told me that the blessings of the Lord would overtake me. And Lori can attest to every time she has asked me to do anything, right? And I said, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I did what I said I was going to do, right, Lori?
Can I please tell that story? So
I want to make sure we get to the book too. So I'm just
we
Okay.
I'm
will.
watching us
We'll
all
get
on
to the book
time.
right after. Okay, go ahead.
We will. So at one of the places where we were, I had to move out, and I someone said, "Oh, you need to call General Gorham." Well, I certainly did not think he was going to have the time to help us unload and reload dozens of trees. Well, here he is. He shows up, only one of like what, three people or something. We
Yeah.
load everything up. Now it has to go get dropped off somewhere. And I said, well, thank you, sir, for helping us. And he said, well, you're surely taking these things somewhere, aren't you? And I said, well, yeah, but I don't expect you to go. And he said, young lady, or whatever, I don't know what term you use, ma'am, whatever, the mission's not over till the mission's over. And so he marched down to drove however far we had to drive, helped us unload it all, and then proceeded to tell us about how we all are exhausted. He wasn't. He was going home to do push-ups and sit-ups and all these other things he does. But he has the energy of the Greek gods.
Mhm.
But he is literally, if he tells you. So that does take us into your book and into him coming for his Black military history event, because I want him to also talk about why he feels like it is important that people recognize the significance. I know we're just doing a day, but I felt like whether he talks about it with his book or aside, I would definitely want him to talk about that, because he'll be here in a couple days, for us to honor him for what he's done, with what he calls a movement now, right? Where that one thing of kindness that he did for 22 people then changed our complete not your chair tribute into a not your chair salute
Yeah.
Right, right. I
because
love
of his
that.
initiative.
I love that. And what we should do is a part two. I'd love to do that with you, JR, especially if at one point you will be at the gallery. That would be great, Lori, because
Mm-hmm.
you'll be here now on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be wonderful because there is so much to this story that I want everybody to hear. And even old, young, I don't care where you're at in life. There's so much to this story that will help everybody and civilian. It is not just
Mm-hmm.
military, and so I definitely want them to hear about this. Um, Hold up the book there with us again so we can see the book. But so when did you write this book? This book is Sharecropper's Wisdom.
Sharecropper's wisdom, growing today's leaders the old-fashioned way. The wisdom that that seventh grade educated father of mine shared with me in that old raggedy smoking Silverado pickup truck, right? I try to put in that book. Every chapter in that book has a life lesson. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, and I'll share three of them with you real quick, right? Give you a taste of it, right? The first thing he told me, he said, boy, you are becoming your company. Whoever you hanging around with, he said, that is who you are becoming. So you heard about how I got with the wrong crowd initially, right? But then when I made up my mind I was going to change my life, that's when I started recalling all the things that he used to tell me, right? And so when I uh, went to officer candidate school and graduated as the distinguished honor graduate of my OCS class, we started with 63, we graduated 21, and I was number one, okay, out of the
Wow.
class.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
and so, as a second lieutenant, I remember what he said, and I started hanging around with them first lieutenants, and I became one. Then I started hanging around with them captains and them majors, them lieutenant colonels and colonels. Finally, I started hanging around with them generals, and I became the first African American general in the North Carolina National Guard because that is what my daddy said. Okay.
Wow.
He said, if you are willing to do what other people will not do, he said, you can go where other people cannot go. Okay. So I'm still using that wisdom. 3 years ago, here in this town where I live in, Kernersville, North Carolina, I decided to run for the board of aldermen. 11 people was running for those 5 positions. Every afternoon from 5 to 7, I was the only one on that 11 that went from neighborhood to neighborhood, from door to door, knocking on people's doors, asking them to vote for me. The majority of the people said to me, JR, I have been living here 25 or 30 years. No one has never come and knocked on my door and asked me to vote for them for town council. You're the first one. For that alone,
Yeah.
I might vote for you. I said, I will appreciate it. Other people said this was an off-year election. I wasn't even planning on voting at all. But because you came and knocked on my door and personally asked me, I think I might go down there and vote for you, right? And so that was good. So the local newspaper said that they was not going to endorse anybody, right? But a week before the election, they decided to endorse 5 of the gentlemen that was running. And they had that picture in the paper to kind of tell the community who you need to be voting for, right? I was not in there, right? And that concerned me a little bit. So when I'm concerned about things, I know one thing to do: consult my father. So I went to the big guy and said, God, what's up with that? And what he put in my mind was, he said, JR, I've already told you about that. I told you in my book, the Bible, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He said, what you're seeing here is just a weapon that's forming against you, but it will not prosper if you stay in faith, right? And let me let you in on something else. Newspapers don't vote. People vote.
It's all
Keep,
about the people.
keep knocking
All
on
the
your doors, right? So that's what
mm-hmm.
I did. And when the night of the election, I'm sitting there and the town manager reads off the names of the top 5 vote getters. Number 1, like the newspaper said. Number 2, like the newspaper said. Number 3 and number 4, like the newspaper said. But when they called number 5, they called my name. If you're willing to do what other people will not do, my daddy told me that you can go where other people cannot go. Right. So those are some of the things that you'll find in that book in there. And I have 3 groups of people that's near and dear to my heart, and I try to get in front of them as often as I can. Number 1 are my homeless veterans. I try to get in front of them as often as I can. Number 2 are our exceptional children. Okay.
Yes.
Some people call them at-risk kids, right? I call them exceptional, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 3rd are inmates who are
Mm-hmm.
deserving of a second chance. Somebody gave me a second chance, right? And so if you go to my Facebook page, you're gonna see where last Monday I was down at a correctional institution talking to 25 inmates. Okay, just last week, because that's what I do, right? So my book is a great book. It's a great read, and if you would like to get one of those folks, the
I
folks in
was
your
just about to ask where.
this is what I suggest, right? I'm gonna give you my email address because I'm a personal kind of guy, right? You know,
Okay.
you can go to the website and all that kind of good stuff, but I would prefer, send me an email at Gorham1, the number 1, Gorham, the number 1 at AOL.com, right? And you get a hardback for 25, you get a paperback for 35, and $5 for a postage, right? But inside that book is gonna be a word of wisdom, right? And I'm going to sign it and date it and send it to you
Mhm.
because I like to start
Be
dialing.
just like that. A little
Yeah,
note.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we have this correct. So it's GORHAM1 at AOL.com for
Right.
the book Sharecropper's Wisdom by James Gorham, which is a retired Brigadier General. And this is your email, your personal email.
Yes,
That if
ma'am.
someone sends you this email at Gorham, GORHAM1 at AOL.com, they will get a response from you.
So is it number one or write out ONE?
It's the number one.
Okay, I just
Number
want to make
one.
sure. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Number
Yeah.
one. I got it there. Sticking by it. You do have a website too, though. What is that?
Okay, website is www.sharecropperswisdom.com, www.sharecropperswisdom.com, or www.generaljargorham.com, or www.thegorhamgroup.net.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're
Mhm.
going to make sure we have all that in here in the show for
Okay.
everybody. But again, we've got the email for the book, sharecropperswisdom.com, has its own website. It sounds like you're very easy to find in a digital era in this day and age. It's very easy to find. And Valerie here is saying she has your book and loves your book, and that your book is full of a lot of different information for a lot of people, not just one category. So I think that's amazing. Ironically, we will have to have a conversation sometime, not on air, but we'll also do a part two, is what I'd love to do. Because there is so much here that we could unpack. You've actually mentioned several things that we could get into that I've wanted to get into in the show.
Fort
One
Hood.
of those is the at risk. When you talk, nobody wants to talk about the war on drugs, what was happening in the 70s, 80s, like everything coming through there. I'm one of those products that grew up on the street, literally, because people were too they were just on drugs, the massive drugs. And so the kids that grew up out of that are now the adults.
Yeah.
So we're at a day and age right now where a lot of the adults that had to grow up with the people that were in there on the war on drugs here in our own country are now somewhat around my age. And so I've always wanted to find someone that wants to discuss, now we're adults and how do we feel about what's going on and what are we doing to try to get out there and get the message going that this is a serious issue, that the foster system, that's a system that is a product of the same thing,
Yes.
alcohol and drugs.
Right.
So you've literally hit on several things here tonight. And one of the largest things that you did hit on that gave me chills and turned my face red, because Lori's wanting me to do my story too, was my son two-step. And when I just got to keep saying this, because when you were looking, you lean forward like this, and I do that too. You're leaning forward. You kept saying, and I was like, oh my goodness, he's literally like, he's like, he knows, like you were talking through me, to me, with me, not at me. So, through the heart. So I got to say thank you for that. I got to say thank you for the message. I got to say thank you to Lori for everything you're doing with not only the gallery there, the Tree of Valor, but I am a very happy individual to be a part of the Tree of Valor too. And now everything we're doing. And I can't wait to share more and actually have more information out there about what you're doing. I also, we can get into more of this later, but as you're visiting the different correctional facilities, I was a child that had to visit, those facilities. So there's a whole lot going on here that you happen to be involved in that is more than just in our military world. It's in our civilian, it's life. That's what it is. I call it people. It's
Absolutely.
about people. That's what it's all about. And then this, I have to do this. Everyone says, well, how are you doing? I'm like, hey, if I got that, I'm good. If it weren't for that, I don't think I'd be good. But so for me personally, that keeps me good.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you for that. And the sharecropperswisdom.com again is the website. And of course, we do have your email as well. And we thank you for all of this. And Lori at the Tree of Valor, thank you for everything you're doing. And yes, Valerie is following us right along over here about
So
your book. And
Valerie's also following along because Valerie is our Black military history curator. And
oh,
so she has his picture on the
oh,
tree over there. So I did want him to touch on that because this is Black Military History Month. So, to just to
Yeah.
help people who don't understand why this is important because it is.
Most people don't realize that African Americans have participated in every war that has been fought either by or within the United States, from the Revolutionary War all the way to Iraq and Afghanistan, you know. And in that process, African American soldiers and military people, okay, are some of the most patriotic individuals that have ever served in our military. And the reason why I say that is because even though they fought, bled, and died for this country, oftentimes, right, they did not get the recognition. The history books didn't share their stories. Yeah, we have heard about, some folks know about the Buffalo Soldiers, which I am one. That was the 24th and the 25th infantry regiments, and I mean the cavalry regiments, and then I mean the 9th and 10th cavalry, the 24th, 25th, and 39th infantry regiments that was formed in 1866, that fought out with the American Indian Wars. And the reason
mhm,
they got their name, because of the coarse hair that the African American soldiers, the Indians saw them and said the hair was like the buffalo. And that's how the name Buffalo
yeah.
Soldier came into existence. And then
Mhm.
people know the Tuskegee Airmen and whatnot. And I had the opportunity when I was over in Iraq to entertain 11 of them when they came over to see our operation and whatnot over in Iraq. And I got a chance to shake hands with the remaining 11 at that particular time and whatnot. But there, and then recently with the 6888 movie that just recently
Oh,
came out about the female wax,
yeah.
women Army Corps in the post
Mhm.
services that they rendered to get the mail to our soldiers. Those unsung heroes, those stories was never told. But being that this is Black History Month, African Americans played a very prominent role throughout our military, but oftentimes our story is not told. And so thank you for giving me a platform just to share
Oh, of
that little
course.
information to your audience. And I hope that you receive it in a sense of love, pride, and dedication, to the people who gave their lives for this great country of ours.
Yes, yes. I can't say it any better. So I love what you're saying and everything you're telling everybody. So we want everybody, you have to go like and follow. You'll find Patriots Inside the Wire. And then as the JR just mentioned, he's on Facebook as well. So you can find him on Facebook too. Are you on Facebook as the Brigadier General or
It's General James R. Gorham.
got it? Got it.
General
All
James
right.
R. Gorham, and you'll see all the stuff that I do. I mean, just as a side note, you never know. 'Cause see, here's the deal. Okay, I am in a covenant. Okay, with God. Okay, and I said to God several years ago, God, whatever door that you open for me, regardless of how many on the other side. But God, if you would just open it for me, I will step through that door and I will share what you place on my heart. He keeps opening up the doors and I keep stepping. Last Sunday, I found myself at a horse farm outside of Raleigh with kids from the Boys and Girls Club. I was told that they were 6 and 7 years old.
Ah,
So that was a very challenging, I wasn't prepared for that. But hey,
yeah,
in the
quick on your
military,
feet.
you have to adjust,
Quick on your feet, right?
Yeah,
I have a
Christian
question
group.
here
So I
that
was out there.
Valerie would
I was
like
out
to
there.
know.
I was out there marching with those kids, right?
Oh,
You know, and I was
Yeah.
saying, I was calling cadence, right? And they was repeating after me. Leaders are readers. Readers are leaders. Huck, 2, 3, 4. Readers are leaders. They were just loving it. So if they
Yeah.
didn't take away anything else, they
Yeah.
know that leaders are readers.
readers.
Yeah.
Love it. A cadence. I like it.
Yeah.
A cadence for the kids. I always like a good cadence. I love
That's
those.
that's
I
right.
love it. I love it. Well, JR, it's been a pleasure having you on here tonight and everything about you. Like I said, we'll have to do a part two because there is so much to this that I can't wait to do more. But it is a very, very, very important um, show. But it's not just a show. You're an individual. You are a person that we are grateful and thankful that is here in this country because you stepped up to do something that very few people will do, literally, and you didn't stop. You've continued even after your service to go forward and give that back to the community. And that, my sir, that is a gift. That is a blessing. So we are extremely grateful for that and extremely grateful that the Tree of Valor has had you in there and cannot wait to have you back, maybe even in the gallery on there. So you've always got a seat, and we would love to do a part two with you for sure.
Well, like I said, my word is one thing that I give and I keep at the same time. So if I'm saying right now, whenever you want to do it, and we can get, I tell you what, you have your people call my people. Okay.
So this Saturday, we're gonna find a way. I wish we could broadcast it to you somehow. So he is gonna have, normally he does this himself, the saluting. So this Saturday, when he comes for the event, he is going to have 21 other veterans who are going to march with him out to do the salute.
And
So,
I'll,
and he'll be leading the charge for
and I'll
that.
be in
Oh,
my military uniform.
wow.
I'll be in my uniform this time.
Yep. So
Oh,
it'll be
goodness.
really something. And people have said to me, well, why are you like, what does the 22 a day have to do with Black military history? And like several people have asked me that. And I said, well, it's that Brigadier General is part of also our history, but we're honoring him that day. And what he has done for this to gain traction for this attention for this national, really worldwide problem, and the comfort he has given to those families that he has just, I mean, we get letters all the time now from families thanking us for doing that. So I need to forward you those letters, JR, because we just got another one last week that was just absolutely, it was sad, but it was beautiful,
Well,
like,
can I give a disclaimer? Can I give a disclaimer? Okay. When you
mhm,
send those letters, okay, let me
mhm.
tell you in advance, right? Generals do not cry. Okay. But sometimes, just sometimes, our eyeballs sweat. Okay.
Okay.
I love it. I love it, sir. So thank you so much for being here with Patriots Inside the Wire. We have loved having you again. We can't wait to get back to you with a part two of what is going on. Again, you can go to sharecropperswisdom.com. We want to make sure you check out this book. We do have your email. We will keep that with the show literally as well. We thank you for everything, for being here with us and joining us on Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. And we look forward to doing more with you, actually. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yep. Broken Road. Thank you. I'm
Thank
watching
you.
our comments come in too. So thank you so much for that. We have someone standing by in the back here. Would you like to stay with the show or would you like to leave? It is up to you. I can pull you down and or hit leave studio, and Lori, your decision too. It is up to you.
Yeah, I got to speak to a Rotary Club tomorrow in High Point, so I got to bug out now and get ready for
I thought so.
tomorrow.
I never, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I never want to hold anybody. I know exactly. I had a feeling that you were going to be getting up very early.
Yes.
I knew that. Well, thank you, sir, for joining us. We thank you for being here with us. We will make sure your information gets out. All you have to do is say goodbye and thank you for joining us. And we will be back in touch to have you on.
I'll give you a salute because you did a
Oh,
great job.
thank
Thank you,
you.
JR.
Thank you.
Should we say
Thank you.
out?
There you go. Bye, sir. Oh, he went out on his own. I was about to do that. So, Lori, we have our featured singer tonight.
Oh,
And yeah, and her name is Bad Apple Ella. She did not get to come on because of the California fires, like
oh,
because everything that was happening, yes. And
okay.
she was without power, without everything. And so she has tonight, she came in as our featured singer. And I was trying not to, we're in the middle of a live show here and I'm watching the time on one platform we're on. We got to make sure we stick within, the 1 hour time zone. But I wanted to make sure he got everything out. And I knew for a fact, JR, he's got it going on. Like you knew he was getting up at no o'clock in the morning. You knew he had a meeting and he stayed
Wasn't he
up with us.
great?
He's just amazing. He really is. I just didn't want to keep him. I was like, I
But I
already
love
know.
how you have like these other connections with him of things like I didn't know
Well,
that
there's a
he
lot
did
to
that.
talk about.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I did not
there
know,
really is.
and
There
I
really
loved it.
is. I want to introduce you to Bad Apple Ella
Okay.
because she was supposed to come on before, and you're very involved in these other areas. Both of us are trying to reach out to so many other areas, not just our backyard. We really want to emphasize that and let you all know that this is Bad Apple Ella. Hi.
I'm in my pink room. I hope that's okay.
I think that's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. How are
So
you doing?
zen. I'm so good. It's so nice to meet you, Lori. Tracy, nice to see you. Hi.
You
Well,
too.
very nice to see you. We just wrapped a show with a very, very amazing individual, but
I caught the end of General JR. Yes, he's very funny.
yeah, he is, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
He's
not only is he like
hilarious.
witty and smart, but he is, isn't he? He's got it all going on there.
Yeah.
So how are you doing with the fires and everything that was going on? How are you?
Well, finally we have a little rain, a little bit too late in LA. I heard another fire broke out, but I think because of the rain we'll be okay. As far as I know, everything's 100% contained. The Palisades and Altadena were probably the worst, and we were pretty close to a couple fires as well. We were sitting in the driveway just watching smoke come up, and we were like, "Oh my God!" And for 3 weeks, all anyone did in LA was just give their heart and soul and just work to the camaraderie out here was so beautiful to see. It was just, LA always has camaraderie, for entertainment and all those things, but to see us go through such a crisis, and we have fires every year, but I've never seen anything like this. So to see everyone just come together was so beautiful. And I feel terrible for everybody who had to just say goodbye to all their keepsakes, their memories, no matter how wealthy you were or not, people still lost their keepsakes, their kids, drawings, like things that were very special. So it was, I cried. We cried together, and we, like I said, I think everyone's going to be stronger for it. And there's not one person who lost their house who's not like fighting and like, I'm going to be stronger for this. So I can't believe how many people have such a beautiful attitude. It's stunning, truly.
Yes, I'm glad you're good. So
Yeah,
you
okay.
ended up without everything.
I looked around my room. I said thank you to all my things for everything they have done for me. And I said it just things at the end of the day. And I packed a couple bags in case, but we were luckily okay. So I feel very grateful.
Good. 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 Well, so Lori, the Tuesday show, we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Lori is with the Tree of Valor.
Mhm.
And it is a beautiful gallery there in North Carolina. So as you keep saying you're going to put me on the spot, Lori, I always want to put the gallery on the spot. So the Tree of Valor does so much. Lori, did you want to show us all the Tree of Valor?
We could show you like little bits of it just because it literally is under construction because of us doing are you gonna sing?
I mean, do you want me to come sing for the Tree of Valor? What is this? Explain this.
But is she gonna sing for you today on the
Well,
show?
for us, she has her song here with us that she was supposed to be on that show. So it's rescheduled into this one as every episode that we do will always have a featured artist who's supporting everything we do. And that is Ella tonight. And we have her song here, but I was looking for your video. Is what I was doing.
Yeah, I did a Revolution video a long time ago, and then if you want to pull that up, I feel like Revolution was a turning point for me for sure. It was just one of those things where you shed your old self and become who you've always wanted to become, I suppose. And then I gave you Dirt for Diamonds as well, and Dirt for Diamonds was more just me talking about the industry and people who abuse their power in the industry. So I
have the gallery, and then I have your music. So I do have your music, of course. But the Tree of Valor, you have a video in here if you want me to show it. It is one of the ones that you've sent in for you. On Wednesdays, the Tree of Valor is Patriots Inside the Wire with the Tree of Valor ongoing every Wednesday.
All right, so educate me. What is the Tree of Valor? Because I don't know.
The Tree of Valor, so I'm going to put Lori on the spot on one of the shows. The Tree of Valor is a beautiful gallery located in North Carolina. And it is I'll let Lori, I know what I say. It's a living, ongoing, beautiful memorial for all those who serve or have served in many capacities. So our first responders, our military, anybody in a capacity that's serving. So it doesn't mean that they're gone. So people make the mistake of thinking that Lori at the Tree of Valor is only honoring just one area, and she's not. So her gallery has beautiful, beautiful just trees with these beautiful people. The pictures are all placed, and there's different trees for different areas, depending on if it's a first responder. We could use me as an example. My son probably is on a tree, which is a what tree, Lori?
It's on one of the white trees of the fallen service members. It's called the Remembrance Place. There's a whole, each time period has white trees or cream colored trees for the fallen, and then green trees for those who are veterans, or they could still be active. There could be active veterans, or it could be someone that maybe your grandpa was in Vietnam and he passed away from natural causes, right? So he would be on a green tree, but we have 100 trees here, and we just take bits of whatever parts are requested all over the country.
Okay, that's amazing.
And thank you.
Set those up. Yes, they get set up at events. So everybody out there listening, so events, Ella, there's an event you know about anywhere. Like we're all willing to go and set up and be there so that we can make sure that they're there. But they're gorgeous.
We have a 16-foot trailer. We pack it up, whatever people, whatever time, for beautiful Purple Heart trees. The families of the fallen are in gold trees. It's beautiful. Really, it's not some Christmas display like what people want to think. This is the way we really love to explain it. Is just, this is where America heals by telling her story. Because let's say we go to a music festival of some sort. People will listen to the music, but they'll walk through the trees and they feel this
life.
Well, they feel safe. Right.
Yes,
Wow.
And
Okay.
Amber's been sitting here all this time in the quiet,
I
but
know.
she's a huge empath, right? And she's seen this so many times where people really feel like they can really talk to her. And they barely need to speak, and she's just like, I know how you, not like I know how you feel. She's not a veteran, but she can feel their heart before they even open their mouth,
My
Mhm.
right?
my cousin was frontline army, and he was I mean, I think 8 tours, Iraq and Afghanistan, and
Ah,
we would just cry every single time he left. And I'm glad he's still with us today. You know, it's there's he watched his friends die right in front of him, and it was just the horror stories of what goes on is just absolutely, I mean,
but if
they're
you send
not,
us his photo,
I would.
if you send us his photo, then we would put him on one of the green trees for what they call the 20-year war. Some people are like, I don't even know what that is, but it's literally from the USS Cole till October, I mean, till August 26, 2021, every
Wow.
bit of time from in between there. So we have
Yeah.
trees for that time period.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. I would love to see all of this. I had no idea that existed. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
it's really a special
I think
place.
I do have a small clip, Lori, if you want me to play it.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
it's one that I was able to upload so that you can see Ella and everyone else out there. I did just notice the production company saying hello. Let them look at your beautiful trees. And then we have Ella's song. So, Ella, yes, when we get going and we get Patriot Fest with the Tree of Valor, and we are a moving, traveling of our own, we will be grabbing our tribes. We have a tribe of our musicians who are very dedicated to taking care of everything that we do here on a Wednesday of Patriots Inside the Wire meets the Tree of Valor. And then our Tuesday, of course, our two-step tribe. So this is the Tree of Valor. And Lori, I have not watched this one, but I
I was
grabbed
scared.
it.
I don't know what you're looking
It's
at.
the only one that it's the
Don't be
only one
scared.
that loaded.
I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna watch. So, oh
I don't
Lord,
know. Here we go. Everybody, here we go. Let's see what it
what's it
is.
gonna be?
Yeah, I know. Well, here we go.
All is calm, but hearts are shattered. Underneath the starry sky, I wonder why you had to fly. Echoes of your voice still linger. Photos fade, but memories shimmer. Christmas tree so full of cheer, yet your absence brings a tear. Missing Christmas, so dear. Where do we go from here? You spent Christmas far away. In our hearts you'll always stay. Pride and pain mixed in the glow.
Okay, Lori. That
Mhm.
looks like it was one of the ones you put on TikTok for an
Yeah.
anniversary date. So you got me.
Yes, yes.
You got me. And Joel, hello, Joel. We see you out there. Thank you so much. We are thinking of you. And thank you, Valerie, so much. And obviously, Amber, Miss Amber, man. What could we do without Amber? But Ella, that was just a little glimpse.
That
of-
was that was so beautiful. I mean,
Thank
I have
you.
been I've been so fortunate and honored to sing for the veterans in Port Hueneme and Malibu. If you ever, I would love to sing for you anytime.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice,
Yeah,
nice. Have
you
you
know.
ever done the anthem, Ella?
You mean the national? Of course. I did it for the veterans for Malibu. I did it for
Oh,
the active duty in Port Hueneme. I got to do it for the WNBA at the Staples Center as well, which was not the
Wow.
best, but that was very cool. So
nice,
yeah,
nice. Well, it is hard. Like some people are comfortable, even singers, like some are comfortable and some aren't. So it's always nice to know who's good at going there. So we'll have to get a glimpse of you. And then we'll have to actually doing the anthem. We won't put you on the spot unless you're that kind of person that's like, no, I'll do it.
Oh, they can you see?
Oh my
I
gosh.
won't go off. I won't go off really, but one.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that. I could already tell it's good, right, Lori? I could already tell.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to
sometime
get
you're gonna
her,
have
Lori.
to do a Lexi show with it. Oh,
Yes.
she freaks out. Like
Yes.
freaks out when people sing the national anthem, and it is the most beautiful thing.
Her
Every
daughter.
little girl is special needs child, and she's just the sweetest thing, and she's
Oh,
nonverbal. But it is her favorite song. It has been her favorite song forever from watching so many sports with her daddy. And then her brother became a Marine, and it is literally she tries to sing it. And yeah,
oh,
there she is. She really
oh,
tries so hard to sing it.
that's wonderful.
She
It's not.
loves the flag.
It's not
Mhm.
that, I guess, the easiest song to sing, but I mean, you could make it easy if you wanted to. I'd love to sing it with her. I mean, I love, I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, be able to sing for the veterans and the active duty. I've raised a little money for autism. In my time, I'm just a singer, and a songwriter. Like, I just trying to, bring the heart of it all. But it's
Right.
just so wonderful that I get to sing, and so blessed that I get to connect with so many walks of life. And thank you guys for having me tonight and sharing all you do. This is gorgeous. I can't believe it.
I'm excited.
Thank you. No, thank you. General Gorham was literally unbelievable history. And then you, Ella, coming in, and we couldn't leave you out after what happened there with the fires and everything. Lori, do you have questions or anything? Or I have her song.
I'm anxious to see her sing. Yeah.
Pictures. Yeah, and I do have some pictures.
First, play her Revolution first.
Which one?
Play her Revolution first, if that's okay.
Play her. Okay, Lori.
It's more like patriotic, I feel. That's why I sent it in to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You got it. Let's see. I'm going to actually grab some pictures. So everyone out there that's listening here with us at Patriots Inside the Wire and the Tree of Valor, as you can see there, beautiful logo down there, the Tree of Valor. Some of the pictures I'll bring up. She mentioned Lexi. Lexi is her daughter. So I'm going to be bringing up some of those with a song by Ella. And Ella, out on your music platforms, it is Bad Apple Ella, correct?
Everything you can find from Bad Apple Ella. I did that like for the Bay. Like I wanted to like rebrand into like your favorite Bay, like, which I thought was cute. Everything you can find on badappleella.com, or if you just Google Bad Apple Ella, my stuff will pop right up. So
yeah, and your music. So everybody, with our musicians, we want to say thank you and be sure to definitely do that. Thank you. Got lots of messages here, Lori, from our families here, and for you too, Ella. We've got both mixes going on in here. I like it. We're actually mixing a lot of the avenues that I wanted, just like JR talked about when he was on. It's like we really do need to, it's people. We've got to reach out and lift up people.
Yeah.
This is the song Bad Apple Ella has called Revolution that is now going out to Lori at the Tree of Valor. And you'll see some pictures coming up here that I'll grab of Lexi and JR, which actually is a Brigadier General. So Sharecropper's Wisdom is his book. Here is the song by Bad Apple Ella.
You don't know what I was facing. That little girl in me was chasing, and all my nightmares were erasing everything I'd hoped to be. No one told me what was up ahead. I was sitting praying for my death, laying up inside an empty
Are you hearing?
bed.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear it.
Broken dreams, screaming out, screaming out, screaming out, screaming out, nobody
Tracy, we can't hear it.
out. Screaming out, screaming out, screaming out. That girl is gone now. I'm gonna
I'll stop it, but it's playing. Are you
Yeah,
saying you can't hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Can you pull up the YouTube video?
No, it's actually playing live in the show. We're live, so I'll be sure it gets in. I don't know why the two of you can't, but it's actually playing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually playing literally, but not right now because I stopped it just to make sure that you were all okay there. Yeah, Jules even confirming it. So I am right on this one. I don't
Okay.
know why you can't, but I've got this one. So I'm going to
Okay.
continue with the
Okay.
song. We've got this one, and Uncle Rhino's going to say hello in a minute, and we've got the song. It's actually playing. So as you cannot hear it, Jewel and everyone has confirmed it is here. So Ella, don't worry, Lori, the song is playing, and it's going to be the pictures from tonight's show. So here
Yeah, I
we
can
go
see the
again.
picture. Okay.
Here we go.
Fucking hate it. Other side of the apocalypse. Yeah, it feels like this. It's so good to let go. The overthrow, to revel in the rebel, rising up from the ruins. Oh, this is where I begin. Screaming out, screaming out, screaming out, screaming out. I bet you hear me now. Screaming out, screaming out, screaming out.
Wow, I love that. Ella right there, Bad Apple Ella right there. But that picture I want to bring up real quick again. Mrs. Lexi right there with General Gorham and Mrs. Lori here from the Tree of Valor. That worked perfect, Ella. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I love that.
I liked it.
Yes.
So even though you may not have heard it, everyone out there has heard every bit of it and they love it. So we're wrapping up here into the show, Lori. So what I'll do is I'd like to introduce you. Yeah, it's on the broadcast. So the production, everybody's like, yep, we're set. So everybody, we are glad that you've been here on with the Tree of Valor and Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. We are over an hour and a half now on the radio. So, Lori, this will be on the radio. Ella, your songs will be on the radio as well. I'd like to pull up someone to introduce to you real quick here at the end of the show, who's now taking hold of Patriots Inside the Wire both Tuesday and Wednesday nights, Lori, and the person that we will end up getting someone in the gallery, and that is Uncle Rhino there. So, Uncle Rhino, meet Mrs. Lori. And of course,
What's going on, beautifuls?
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm sitting here between three hot chicks. I feel like Charlie Sheen. I need one of those a little button where I can go winning, winning, winning. That's all. I'm just gonna keep hitting my button. Proud of y'all. Good to see you. You keep laughing, I'll keep being funny. It's the damn rule somewhere. Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
have to go to North Carolina.
Good.
Pull the truck up.
Do what,
Oh,
baby?
yeah.
Look. Do what,
Carolina,
sweetie?
Unc. Pull the truck up. Let's go.
North Carolina.
That's it. That's it. We
LA,
traveling.
LA
I
is
love me some
saying.
North Carolina. But I fell in love with Grandfather Mountain. And do you remember? I'll tell you a little trivia behind the scenes because I just kind of came out of my proverbial closet this last fall. But you remember when Florence tore up Wilburn and Newbern and all of Lumberton area when Hurricane Florence did that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Storm Search and Rescue and Cajun Navy came in and got involved with helping. And
Mm-hmm.
Storm Search and Rescue, I'm on the board of directors for Storm Search and Rescue.
Oh,
So we
wow.
were heavily involved with helping our brothers and sisters. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
So,
and we want to get there into North
yeah.
Carolina, like Ella mentioned, because of music, and we want to do our own festivals ongoing. Uncle Rhino's heard me say Patriot Fest a million times, and so Lori and I actually met somewhere in Tennessee. We neither of us were living there, but we happened to both run into each other. One day we'll tell the whole story, but um, we bumped into each other, and she was setting up at a festival and I was going to one as well, just kind of scouting out music. And her gallery and everything that they're about is something that I've been talking about, actually, Uncle Rhino. I know you've heard me talk about this gallery in North Carolina that I want
Yep.
to get musicians. And for Lori, who's now the host here on Wednesdays for Patriots Inside the Wire meets the Tree of Valor, I guarantee that in your tribe, Uncle Rhino, you've got a musician somewhere near where Lori is that we could get at that gallery to sing. So,
Do you want me to have them come over to her house tonight? Because I got them everywhere.
I said, no, I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
I'm
She's getting baptized right now. Did you see the look? She looked off camera like, wait, who's this man and what's he talking about? Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. The reason I'm laughing is because we said, well, I don't know about Amber, but I said we're gonna pull an all nighter here, working on the trees. So this is literally
I'm your
um
guy. All nighter.
the
We're gonna make a
most
party.
in. This is the most inspiring place to tell a veteran story, fallen veteran, an active veteran, or an active service member or a veteran. This is the place. There's just no better place. I mean, I'm literally going to
it
say it,
is.
and
Well,
it's crazy to me that no one's done it yet. It's just
you're
crazy.
you're building you're building a forest of nobility.
Mhm.
And when you're creating something like that, every branch has tried to make the world better. And so you'll feel like children walking through the footprints of titans because that's what they are. Everyone who made an impact. Not every ripple becomes a tsunami, but every tsunami starts with a ripple. And that's what we do as people when we're trying to work with each other and we're lifting each other up. It starts with a touch. It starts with a smile. It starts with a hug, a hand up. You're only looking down because you're lifting them up. That's the way it works. That's the only reason you look down on them. The people who gave everything of themselves, not entirely by choice in that moment, but they stepped up to put themselves in between me and you. And that right there is something that's divine.
It,
That that's
it
divine.
is. You know, we one of our newest team members said to me just today on the phone. She said, I was in there, a day this week, and there was nobody here, and we weren't open, but I left the front door open. And she said it was not windy outside, but the door kept opening. And I said, well, I didn't really tell you, but you can't have this many fallen veterans in one place and think that you're not going to have visitors.
And even that sound like to me that ain't supposed to be shut to anybody.
I
Just
don't
So
saying.
I don't see why
That's true.
some sort of big festival. I know so many veteran foundations from New Hampshire to, LA to, even the Gary Sinise Foundation. We should be doing a festival for the vets. I feel like
We are Uncle Rhino. I'm like all over it, aren't I? Uncle Rhino is the one to look at. He's got it all going on between. So Lori, this is not the same thing that we met under circumstances. Uncle Rhino truly has a full capability of artists that would line up out the door to do this whole
But that
Patriot
that
Fest.
young
Yes.
that young woman you got sitting right there is my bae. That's my
Yeah.
bad apple Ella. My
Yeah.
bad apple Ella.
Have
Okay,
you
so
heard her anthem?
I'm not really a bad apple, but people tend to demonize you when you stand up for yourself. So I was like, you know what? All right. I'm
yeah,
like,
that her name is what drew me in, and then I met her. And then it was like, but the name got me before anything else. So if you ever change it, I'll be so mad. I want you to be 85 and like have a tattoo
I
and
won't
be,
even Rock
yeah.
Nation. No, the whole industry loves it at this point. So I'm like, cool.
Yeah, yeah, you got to have that. You got to have a tattoo, maybe a nose piercing at 85, 86 years old and smoke unfiltered cigarettes. Yeah.
I,
Bad Apple. I have to tell you, at one time I had a job that I got fired at that job because they said I was a bad apple. But the reason they said that was because I did the right thing, right? So I will take being a bad apple any time of any day of any week. So whatever.
I love
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Same here. It happened to me. We are winding down. I know you're there in the gallery, Lori, and you've got a long night ahead of you.
I
So
do.
here at Patriots Inside the Wire, with the Tree of Valor. Now, on Wednesday nights, we wanted you to meet Uncle Rhino. And of course, our featured guest, Bad Apple Ella, will be on multiple times. And we're going to be working on our own festivals with Patriot Fest and Stars and Bars Tour. So the gallery is obviously a part of me. Tree of Valor is part of me, Lori. And so Uncle Rhino is leading every bit of that for us. So we will not have a problem any longer doing our own festivals when it comes to music. So we just point right there and say, okay, well, let's get the festivals going, and he'll get it going for us. So
And
and
Rhino, you have to meet the other cute girl when you're talking
oh,
about the
Amber,
ladies.
yes, yes. There's Amber. Hi, Amber.
Can't leave anyone out.
There we go.
Lori and Amber.
Ella laughs at me, but my amazing daughter taught me this skill right here. So that's that and the starting lineup of My Little Pony. These are things I never thought I'd master or have on. Yeah, but it's happened.
I love her.
I love it. I love it. So, Lori, thank you. Good night on Patriots Inside the Wire. It's been a great night. And on here with JR, Brigadier General James Gorham, with his book, sharecropperswisdom.com, to check out his book. I'll be sure to keep putting that out. We'll be back next Wednesday with a lot more. And I have something for you next Wednesday, Lori, that I can't wait to share.
Oh Lord.
So I have something lined up for you. So here on Patriots Inside the Wire, Ella, Miss Bad Apple Ella, we're going to roll this out with your other song that you sent us. And then we'll close out for Patriots Inside the Wire meets the Tree of Valor as we do more to take care of our people out there ongoing. So tune in every Wednesday night, 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you will find out more about what the Tree of Valor is doing and the stories that Lori will pull out of all of us. Trust me, she can. She's very good at that. That's for sure. And Uncle, I am so glad you got to get in here and meet Miss Lori over there with the Tree of Valor. All of our family here, and Ella, we're so glad to have you. And she can do the anthem very well, by the way. Just so you know.
I know she can. That
I'm
girl can
already
sing the
looking at
phone
her.
book. She can sing the phone book and they'll be trying to get a record deal halfway through the yellow pages. I ain't playing. That's fact. And Laurie, we're gonna connect. You hear me? We're
Okay,
gonna
please
connect.
do. I
Okay,
will be waiting.
we got miles to go before we sleep. We got stuff to do. And Ella, don't you go anywhere. You stay right there in the pink room. When we log off, we're gonna visit.
Yes, sir.
You got it. You got it. All right. I'm going to roll us out here, Lori. So here we go. It's up to you, Lori. If you stay or go, I'm going to end up closing out the show. It is the Patriots Inside the Wire with the Tree of Valor. I will play your song there, Ella, and then roll out as we say goodnight to all of you from Patriots Inside the Wire and the Tree of Valor. Thank you so much for joining us all, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Have a
Scott.
great
Lexi.
Wednesday. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star Mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Sorry, so I am my brother Two-Step.